The war in Ukraine isn't over yet, but I'm sure you and me very interested in what will happen to the whole world after this war. It'll affect many people, but how exactly? You'll find out in this video. What country will be the leader, and what place will Ukraine take? Victory of Ukraine is inevitable. Despite Russia is pretty big, it's not the first and not even the third military potential country. And we know that leaders in this area help Ukraine. First of all, after the victory, there will be an information boom. On every TV channel, on the internet. Okay, I don't need to explain it to you. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Even coronavirus will step aside. Ukraine is a symbol of freedom and will remain like that in future. And for its bravery, other countries will help Ukraine to reborn from the ashes. Ukraine already allocated money for urban regeneration from reserve fund. 400 million hryvnias will go to Kyiv region rebuilding and 100 million for Zhytomyr region. And I mean real construction, residential buildings from scratch. It must be very expensive. It could be if we would build them by obsolete way. But Ukraine gets not only financial help but foreign technologies as well. Ukraine can learn from Asian countries how to build multi-story houses as soon as possible. It's hard to believe, but this 10-story building was built only for 29 hours. At first, each block was assembled separately at the factory. Then it was delivered to the construction site. Every module can fit into a truck or even a ship. That's why it's so easy to transport these constructions. Building of these story houses isn't a hard thing, more like Lego. Fold the house the way you need. Sounds like a plan. In the meantime, Ukraine will be rebuilding its cities. What will happen to Russia? It's not hard to guess. Russia will face what it deserves, like it was during World War II with Germany. No one will want to have something common with Russia. Only some countries that are friends with Russia now. India, maybe China. Speaking of China, the nearest neighbor of Russia also needs something: territories. I have a video about it. If you're interested in it, follow the link. Many countries already now want to be independent from Russia. First that come to mind, Tatarstan and Yakutia. I think other territories will decide to be independent too. They're just not decisive, because Putin won't acknowledge them. Won't let them to be independent. War in Ukraine is like an example for them. But when Russia loses, it'll be weak. Who will lose such an opportunity to break away from dictator state? That's why some territories will separate from Moscow. Putin has bet that everyone needs Russia, but nobody needs it. All that other countries need are resources. When new countries appear, the West will be able to cooperate with them. And that cooperation will be without imperial intentions like Putin had. While Russia will try to get out of the hole, Ukraine will be a rebuilding country. On this background, the situation in Europe will change. Now we see Europe tries to become independent from Russian resources, imposes sanctions to hold Russia. This direction won't change, and maybe Europe will have success. But that'll be not the only changing in Europe. New centers of influence will appear. From historic classes we remember, whoever wins becomes a leader. When Ukraine wins, it'll be the most respectable country in Europe. Many European countries will listen to Ukraine, and maybe it'll become a member of European Union. Despite the war, Ukraine is moving forward to EU, and with pretty good success. All it seems like a good start, but what if Putin decides to start war again with full force? And in general, what happens to him after war in Ukraine? I'd want he was put on a trial in most harsh way. But if we need to judge Putin, we need to catch him. And no one can get him in his own country, because this violates most of international laws and Russian constitution. After that, Putin's hand will be untied and we can expect everything. After his death, Russia will collapse. But maybe it'll begin earlier. Putin has become the main problem of Russian authorities and the mafia group that is in power. His actions kill country that feeds them. Therefore, they are seriously considering the possible removal of Putin from power. Checkmate. Obviously, he didn't expect it. So he might be killed by oligarchs, but maybe not. And if he'll be still alive after war, I'm sure the new chapter of Russia will begin. I would say the final one. Many soldiers will return to Russia, mentally ill soldiers. Russia already faced this problem. After war in Afghanistan, thousands of civil soldiers returned home, plus economic crisis, and here, Russia got a totally different world. After this useless war, many criminals appeared in Russia. Others who didn't take part in war lost almost everything. They had no money and almost no food. And criminal showdowns could take place right on the street. Soldiers who returned from this war became such criminals, or just mad people. That's why that time was famous for iniquity. Consciously, Russian authority pushed the country to the same situation when Putin started war against Ukraine. And look at this, Russia has almost the same situation now. The captain of the Russian armed forces shot a taxi driver in Rostov who spoke against the war in Ukraine. In the Belgorod region, the Russian military opened fire on colleagues. In Bryansk, a military man was convicted for the murder of a cafe visitor. Looks like a beginning of the end. During the self-destruction of Russia, Ukraine will continue to recover. USA will remain the leading country, but Ukraine also will take a significant part. And I think next time, when countries will take serious decisions, Ukraine won't be a side. But for all this, Ukraine needs to win. I'm sure it will, and without help, it won't be possible. Thanks to all people in countries who stand with Ukraine now, bright future is closer day by day. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support me, like this video, write comments, and subscribe to my channel. Also, I have a Twitter account. You'll find the link in the description. See you!